While I start cleaning up this huge, giant, oversized, magungus mess I created in a previous video, I'm going to tell you the story about how starting out in the firewood business was a key to some of my future business success. Businesses that weren't even related to firewood. I'll start with a quick background story. When I graduated from high school, I almost had a perfect report card. Straight D's. That's D as in dog. But I had one A that messed it all up. I don't remember what class that A was in, but apparently I was an overachiever. To some people, straight D's may sound like a lousy report card, but for me, it was perfect. It was the sweet spot. I got to graduate just like all the other kids. I got a diploma just like all the other kids. But I didn't have to work as hard as they did to get it. In my mind, I was just being more efficient than they were. There were a few people who did not agree with my logic. Mostly a group of people who we like to call the adults. They would say things like, "You're a smart kid, you should apply yourself in school." Why? You could get good grades, you could get straight A's, you could be on the honor roll. Why? Then you might get into a better college. Why? Then you might be able to get a better job. A job. Isn't that the thing all you adults are always complaining about? The reason why you dread Monday mornings when you have to go back to work? The reason you dread getting up in the morning to go to work almost every day? Why you look forward to Fridays when you can get a couple days to yourself when you don't have to go to that job? Spending your whole working life saving, building up a retirement plan so one day you could finally stop going to this job. They were trying to motivate me, but they just didn't know how to speak my language. See, I knew some people who didn't have jobs. They were self-employed, doing things they enjoyed doing. They didn't have some other adult in their life called a boss who could tell them when they have to work, when they can get a day off, who maybe allows them to have 2 weeks of vacation a year, maybe more than 2 weeks if they're really lucky. I have no interest in spending most of my adult life working to make someone else's dreams come true. So that was my plan. I was going to work for myself, build my own enterprise. I didn't hear those people who were working for themselves complaining. Sign me up for that. But after high school, I got off track, started hanging out with the wrong crowd. One of them, a low-level manager at a local grocery store. He started telling me things like, "I could get you a job here, great benefits, you could work your way up to checker, then maybe become low-level manager, maybe even general manager, then work your way up into corporate." I knew what they always told us, when it comes to peer pressure, just say no. But I didn't say no. I took the job. I told myself, I don't have to do this forever. I can quit anytime. Little did I know, this is what they call a gateway job, the type of job that leads to more hardcore jobs. A few weeks into the job, I came in early one day because I wanted to talk to the general manager. I walked up the stairs into his office. I told him, 2 weeks from now, my family's going on a camping trip at the lake. I just wanted to let you know ahead of time, I won't be available to work during those 2 weeks. Now, most people, if I tell them I'm going on a 2-week camping trip with my family, they would reply in a way that sounded like they were happy for me. They would say something like, "Wow, that's great. I hope you have a great time." Not this clown. All he said was, "We have you scheduled to work during that period." "Yeah, I know. That's why I'm telling you 2 weeks ahead of time, so you will have plenty of time to unschedule me." His reply to that was, "We really need you to work that time." Who is this punk who is now telling me I have to end this tradition of going to the lake for 2 weeks every summer that we've been doing since I was 8 years old? Oh, this person who was just a stranger a few weeks ago is now my boss. I am not liking how this arrangement is working out. That was one of the moments where I confirmed that is not the game I want to play for the next 40 plus years. I told him I'll work here for the next 2 weeks, but when I get back from the lake, I won't be coming back here. One of the things that made that decision easy, a few days earlier I went to the bank to deposit some checks. One of them was my paycheck for 2 weeks working at the store. The other 2 were from working 2 days cutting and selling firewood on the side. As I was going into the bank, I was looking at the numbers on the checks. The check for 2 weeks working at the store was more than the 2 checks for working 2 days cutting firewood, but not that much more. When I got back from the lake, I went to cutting firewood full time. At the age of 18 and 19, I had money. Some of my friends would come over to my place to hang out because I was the only one who could afford to have my own house. Firewood was a simple business to get into. All I needed was a pickup truck, a chainsaw, a splitting maul, and a few simple tools. Eventually a dump trailer, eventually a wood splitter. While a lot of my friends were struggling in life, still living at home with their mom, I was doing just fine. I didn't have a boss, I had freedom. I could take days off whenever I want. Cutting firewood was hard work, but I was young, strong. To me, the freedom was worth it. Having the ability to take days off whenever you want, go on vacation whenever you want is great. But that is not what was most valuable to me. Having the time, freedom, and resources to pursue other business ideas, other endeavors, that is what was valuable to me. I've known a lot of people, they have big dreams, big ideas. They want to start their own business, doing something they enjoy. I know people now who would love to start a YouTube channel, start a podcast, do something other than devote their life to working their job. But this job gets in the way. Their job is such an overwhelming part of their life, they don't have the time and the energy at the end of the day to pursue the things they really want to do. Being in the firewood business allowed me to pay the bills while I still had freedom to pursue bigger and better things. While pursuing a business, if I needed to take some time to devote to that business, I could simply stop cutting firewood, take the time I need to put into that business. During lean times, which often happen when starting a business, I could easily go back to cutting firewood to supplement until things pick up again. Then when things start picking up again, I can start cutting less firewood, put more time into pursuing that business. There have been several periods in my life where the firewood business has given me a platform to launch another business from. Firewood brought in an income to pay the bills, but gave me the freedom to pursue other endeavors. Something that would have been very difficult if I would have done what they told me to do, which was to go get a real job. I've had times in my life where I've had a business where I've decided I don't want to do it anymore. I want to pursue something else. For entrepreneurs, when we pursue a business or an endeavor, a lot of times we have to go out on a limb to do that. We may have to quit one thing that's bringing us income to go pursue something else that might or might not bring us an income. But knowing I can always go back to cutting firewood in between, or I always have firewood to go back to if I need to, has always made going out on a limb much easier for me. I've been able to pursue things I may not have otherwise because I knew I always had firewood I could fall back on. I could pick it back up at any time. I don't know that there's any magic to firewood specifically. With my background, firewood is what I had available to me. I'm sure there are many other things someone could do to provide the same things. Mowing lawns, cleaning houses, washing windows, handyman service, handywoman service. A very simple, low-stress business where the only people who you have to answer to are your customers. And you can set it up so you can answer to them on your own terms. A business that is so simple, you're not going to be overwhelmed or stressed out by it. One thing about firewood is, it's always been easy for me to quickly find customers. And I'm not here to say there's anything wrong with having a job if someone wants to have a job. Many people do well in that environment. Those people may even have some advantages in life because that's the way the world is set up. But for the rest of us, whatever it is that we are, we just don't do well in that environment. The way I'm defining a job is when you work for someone else, where you have a boss who can dictate what you do and when you do it. If you do have big things you want to pursue, big dreams, if you find a time in your life when you have some time off, or you have freedom, whether it be a business or a job that gives you some freedom, or for some reason you have to take a few months off, my advice is don't squander it. That could be some of the most valuable time of your life if you use it wisely. Even after all the things I've done in life, there are some days like today where I like to go out into my forest and spend the day cutting firewood.